So I posted a few days ago the question, what are you still tolerating in your marriage or relationship? And several of you responded. And one of the responses in particular, I think, struck a chord with a lot of women. I received some DMs from women, and so I wanted to address that here. So thank you so much for you, Lacey. You're the one who posted something that really, I think, connected with a lot of women, which is this. Lacey said, feeling like what I say I need to feel loved is considered an expectation and not a need. And she doesn't even know, not sure how to get that need met in her relationship. And so I asked her for more information. And she said, they have different love languages, and her partner will show up periodically meeting her love language in the way that she wants it to be met, and then fall off. And so I'd love to know, if you're watching this, if this is you, if you've had that experience before where you've said to your partner, well, my love language is acts of service or physical touch. And then your partner hasn't met you doing that long term, right? Which is super typical. And let's talk about why that happens, what to do instead, because obviously we're in relationship in order to feel love, in order to feel connection. And so if you don't feel connection, it makes sense that we're going to look at our partner and say, you're not helping me feel the way that I want to feel as a woman in this relationship, right? We're so trained and taught to look outside of ourselves, to look at that person, the circumstance or the person, and then reflect back to us, right? Have them reflect back to us our value, our enoughness. And so if we're not feeling enough, we're looking at what they're doing to make us feel not enough. And then we want them to change so that I can feel enough, right? Does this make sense for those of you? If you're watching this live or on replay, please comment below. Share with me your questions, your feedback, your comments. I go back and I read all of the comments after these live videos. They're really important to me because it helps me know that I'm speaking directly to the need that you have in this space. So here's what you do instead, okay? It's really important that, and this is contrary to everything that most of us have learned about relationship, it's really important that you don't look to your partner to get your enoughness need met. Because if you show up and you don't feel like you're enough, then you're looking at the other person to give you the reflection of your enoughness. I'm going to say that in a couple of different ways because it's really important and I want you to get it. If I am in a state of scarcity and I don't feel loved, or I don't feel important, or I don't feel valued, then that's the vibration that I'm showing up with, right? Every emotional state, and I talk about emotional states a lot because they're really important when it comes to life, but also when it comes to relationship. If I show up in an emotional state of scarcity, right, that has a particular vibration, and that vibration has thoughts associated with it. So if I'm in scarcity, I look around my world and I look at how I don't have enough, how I don't look the way that I should, how my weight or my health is not enough, how my partner is not enough, how our house is not enough, how my kids are not enough, right? Because that emotional state is a state of being contracted. And so when I'm contracted, I'm in what I think of as like a small self, right? And in that small self, the easiest thing to do is to look at the other person. And I say this, Lacey, to you and all the others, please know there is no judgment here. I created the curriculum that I created and do the programs that I do because I had to learn about this. I had to learn how to embody it. So I knew it as a therapist and a sex therapist and somebody who's been working with women and families for 20 plus years now. I knew it, but I didn't know how to embody it, right? Like all of us know that we need to feel like we're enough. We need to not have the amount of money in our bank account make us feel better, or what my partner is saying make us feel better. We can know that, but if I don't know how to do it, if it's not mapped in my body, which is what an embodied practice is, if it's not mapped in my body, it doesn't matter, because I'm still going to toggle back to this emotional frequency state of scarcity, of not enoughness. And in that state, that small self, I talk about it also as your 1.0 self. We all have it. It's no big deal. It's totally fine, but it will hijack your life if you don't do anything else with it, if you don't grow it up to your big self, right? And so women come in to work with me and they're in this small self state, and I help them. I'm the bridge to this big self, 2.0 self, higher self state, a state that experiences more enoughness, more abundance, more prosperity, more acceptance. Acceptance is a big one, because I can't get to a place of enough until I know how to be in a state of acceptance, right? And acceptance is the polar opposite of criticizing. My partner's not enough. I'm not enough. What I know from having worked in this space for many, many years is, and from being a human, who's healed and done a lot of my own transformation work, is that I could be critical of my husband or of somebody outside of me, but the person who I'm most critical of is me, right? And so for those of you who resonated with Lacey's comment, I'm sorry, my hair is totally, have you had those days where your hair is just like bugging? I'm having a bugging hair day. So my apologies for touching my hair. So for those of you who resonated with what Lacey shared, I really suggest that you pay attention to how often you toggle back into that not enough state, because that practice of toggling back into that place and that emotional frequency state, scarcity, comes with thoughts of criticism. And then those thoughts pick up other thoughts along the way. And it's like an avalanche of not enoughness in all kinds of realms. And then we bump into things like anxiety, worry, depression, fear, blame, shame. Why did I marry this person? I should have never done it. My mother was right when she said I shouldn't marry this person. Whatever the stories are. So I hope that this is resonating with you. I hope that this is making sense. How it is that you shift this is, it is literally a daily practice. It is an every single day showing up anew and practicing living in a different emotional frequency, which means you have to have different beliefs. Because if my foundational belief, and many of us have this, where our foundational belief, our starting point is I'm not enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not safe, right? And if that's where I'm starting, and then I'm looking to my job, my kids, my partner, my physique, my home, my car, whatever, to tell me that I am enough, that to help me feel secure, ultimately, I'm going to be screwed, right? So that practice, that bridge to something new, is a process, because many of us have been doing it the old way for decades, our whole lives, right? And the world outside of us doesn't help us out very much, because it's also mirroring scarcity. You're not safe. Be scared. Be very afraid, which keeps us in this small self. I'm here in this space, committed to holding space and for guiding women into experiencing their enoughness, into experiencing their big self, their 2.0 self, into embodying the highest potentialities for them. The only way you can do that is getting out of this small self state. And when we're in the small self, what happens often is we're in the small self, and then we go to a retreat or we listen to a talk like maybe this one, and we get really excited. We're like, yeah, that's awesome. That's what I'm going to do. And so we get really excited about the thing for like a day or two. And then what has the most powerful programming is the small self. So then we shrink right back down to that 1.0. And then we do that most of our lives. So we have like a really good coach or a therapist or a retreat, or we go away for a week or whatever happens, and we touch into big self. But then that old muscle memory clamps us back down. what I do and why I work with women for over 2 months is because I want to help you get into this 2.0 big self state and practice what it's like to live in that state every single day, no matter what's coming at you. And so you get to really grow such muscle memory around the new beliefs, around the new practices, around the new emotional frequency that you're in, around the new thoughts, the words, how you show up, how you hold your body, what you eat, how you sleep at night, how you take care of yourself, right? All of that, that's a whole different identity, right? So it's not like I'm just going to change my words and I'm just going to say it differently, because you can say it differently and stay in small state, that small self. Have any of you experienced that? I know I have, where I spent years just like saying the affirmation, but not feeling it or believing it because I didn't have any belief or feeling underneath it, right? So really important to recognize where it is that you're living and what it is that you're conditioning every single day. Every single day, asking yourself, what am I conditioning today? What am I practicing today? Right? And I do that over the course of many, many weeks, 10 weeks with the women who I work with. If you are interested in working with me, I still am honoring the 2021 pricing for my newly revitalized relationship mastery program. So DM me, let me know. We have a couple of weeks left till the end of the month when the pricing goes up to 2022 prices. Would love to welcome you into this really amazing space and just the inner circle with the other women who are walking this path, because the path of transformation, it's a path. It's not a destination. We continue every single day because life every single day throws what life throws at us, right? So thank you so much for being here. I would love for you to comment in the post below to share one insight, one takeaway that you're getting from what I'm sharing. If you have a question, post a question. And like I said, I'll go back and I'll read all the comments later on. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next time.